one finger. But it's best to use 3 fingers mustahab, or the 4 fingers, that's fine. From like the middle of the top of the head to where the hair starts or hair stops. So you just do that. That's it. And then with the same hand, you do your feet. So, for example, this is my feet.
You just do it to the ankle.
That's it, to the ankle. Very good. We have an ayatollah in the making here. So you do the right feet and then the left feet. So I'll just go over that very quickly again, because as I said, the organizer said a lot of people want to just double check if what they're doing is correct. So after you wash your hand, grab water on your right hand, pour it over your face. Then just do this. Make sure every part gets clean. Khalas. Water on your left hand, you wash your right hand. Pour it on your right hand, downwards. Make sure everything is done. Once is enough. You can do it twice if you want. Again, pour water on your right hand from your elbows down, downwards. Done. Like this. Like that. And then the left feet. Any questions or thought on any of that? Yes? Yes? Yes, sister. Yeah, great question. According to the Quran, as we said, what's wajib, what you have to do is those 4 things. Wash your, in Surah 5, verse 6, wash your face and your hands and wipe your head and your feet. That's all you got to do. Now what you're talking about is what's better to do. Yeah, so what's better to do, and now I'll talk about that. So simply, if you want to do it simply, you just do those 4 things. Now, if you wanted to do mustahab things, there's so many things, but I'll mention some of them. Firstly, as it is, wash your hands, number 1. Even that you don't have to, but you do it. Secondly, you pour it, you wash your mouth, right? You rinse it, you can gargle it, you can go like this, pretend you're brushing your teeth or whatever with your fingers. You can do that. Whether you want to, or whether you want to gargle, or you want to just put it in your mouth, or you want to do that, the more you do, the better. But also be mindful around you that when you do it, don't make big splashes, don't make big noises, especially when it comes to the nose. It's the funny time. People make all sorts of funny noises, It's just because the person next to you might think it might get a bit grossed out. So after you do your mouth, you can either blow it, make all sorts of trumpet noises, to clean it, or you can just sniff it 3 times. That's all you can do as well. And then you wash your face, you do your right hand, you do your left hand, your head, right feet, right, left feet. I hope that clarified. Cool. Anything else? Another thing, for people like me that put gel on, if the water goes through the gel, you don't need to take it off, the scholars say. If you have a hat, obviously take it off. If you have gel and it won't go through it, or you have some kind of thing on top of your head, maybe some kind of, you've just colored your hair, you're meant to get rid of the color first, or any wax or anything. Same thing in your arms. If you've just applied, for example, sunscreen or lotion, make sure it's gone inside your skin, or you might need to wash it off first. Sorry? It's up to you. Any questions just in regards to that? Yes? Did you have your hand up? No? Okay, great. Oh, sugar. Yeah, sure. They want to wash again? While you're doing wudu, you mean?
After you've done that, just say you're ready to pray.
Yes.
And the doorbell's rang. You want to answer that doorbell. Or the phone's rang.
So you're saying, can you do other things and then pray?
Pray, yeah, but you have to wash your hands or something.
Okay. That's a very good question. So the sister's asking if you do your wudu and then the doorbell rings or you have to do something, do you have to do your wudu again or you don't have to? Very good question. When you do your wudu, you can actually keep that same wudu for the rest of the day. And I'll quickly talk about what will break your wudu. You can do whatever you want. Like right now, I did wudu maybe 2 hours ago. I'm doing all this thing. Maghrib's going to happen. I can pray. As long as I haven't, okay, I'll just quickly go over what invalidates wudu. If you do these things, you have to do wudu again. If you go to the bathroom, for example, not to wash your face or anything, if you pass water, urinate or defecate, doing your business, very good way to put it. Doing number 1 or number 2, pee-pee or poo-poo, whatever you want to call it. If you do that, it breaks your wudu. That's number 1. Number 2, if you sleep, you fall asleep, then when you wake up, you do your wudu again. Number 3, if you lose consciousness, for example, I don't know, inshallah it never happens to anyone, but you faint or you get knocked out or something, you do your wudu again. And that's pretty much it. And of course, also anything that breaks your ghusl. Yes, sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah, and passing wind. No. It's najis, you remove the najasa, but you don't do wudu again. We can check inshallah. So what breaks your wudu is sleep, passing wind, number 1 and number 2, your business, and I said sleeping and losing your consciousness. So in other words, you can do anything. You can go out, you can eat, you can cook, you can answer the doorbell, whatever. If you've done wudu, it doesn't break your wudu. You can do all that and then you can pray. I hope that answers the question. Yeah? Yes, brother. Blood test, I'm not sure. Brother, do you know, Ali? I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, it doesn't break your wudu. Yeah. Okay, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And those questions are very important because other people most probably have the same questions. And so thank you for the courage to ask on behalf of others as well. Anyone else have any question? Okay, so that's wudu. Beautiful. So we find one of the stories of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. Yes, sister. While you're praying, you mean? It's best to ask, the online. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, when you're praying, the sister said a good point. There's a lot of little things. Generally, when you're praying, you finish your prayer first and do whatever you want to do, whether it's open the door or whatever. But as the sister said, if you owe someone money, or someone is even asking for charity, like in the Quran it says Imam Ali, while he was in ruku, he gave charity. Or if someone asks, but these are small things that usually don't happen. But generally, as a general, say no. But there are some little things that the scholars say if you're praying and someone knocks on the door, you can, as long as you don't change your direction of prayer, you can walk towards them. It seems funny, but as a general, no, but just refer you to your jurist as well, because it might depend on whether you follow the jurisprudence of, for example, Sayyid Sistani or, Sayyid Fadlullah or Sayyid Khamenei or whoever it may be. Yes, Sistani. Again, refer to the jurists. Some jurists say yes, some say no. Actually, most... Yeah, but some allow it. For example, as far as I know, you can pray with nail polish, but you can't do wudu. But some scholars let you do wudu as well. You can pray with nail polish or gel or makeup even, you can. But if you want to do wudu, you have to get rid of all that first. Okay, so now it's getting a bit technical and yes, sister. Yes. Okay, the question is, if someone has just started praying and they make mistakes, as obviously when we learn anything, we'll make mistakes in the process, does it still get counted? Whether the prayer of that sister or brother gets counted or ours that we know how to pray, at the end of the day, that's up to God. But it's just a matter of learning the process. Whether it gets counted or not, I'm not one to say it. That's not up to me. But generally they say, of course, you should learn it correctly. And in the meantime, of course, inshallah, God will reward you for your dedication and wanting to learn. Thank you. You're most welcome. And at the end of the day, for the very slight jurisprudential questions, you can also refer to, the jurist that you might refer to usually for jurisprudential or fiqh questions. But what I've responded to generally applies to pretty much all of them. Yes, sister? You can stay wet, that's fine. Yeah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this is beautiful. It's a reflection that we all have a lot of questions, whether it's something like wudu or obviously anything else, salah or whatever. And hopefully, Madhif al-Amir, inshallah, in future will accommodate for all that. Beautiful questions, and thank you very much for engaging with me. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So to conclude, we'll talk a bit about one of the companions, or a few of the companions of Imam Hussein. We find that even in the story of wudu, there is a story that's narrated that Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan saw a man doing wudu wrong. And so that man did the wudu wrong, and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, they didn't embarrass the guy or say, what you're doing is wrong, or whatever the case may be, because they were young and this gentleman was older. So we need to know also how to approach these situations and how to be sensitive about anything. So we find that Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, instead of directly telling the older gentleman, look, your wudu is wrong, the hadith says that Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein told the old elderly gentleman, they said, we are quarreling between each other, we're arguing, me and my brother, whether our wudu is right or not. So then they showed the wudu, Imam Hassan did it, and then Imam Hussein did it. And then the old man realized, okay, your wudu, you did it exactly the same. I think I just realized that my wudu is wrong. So very indirectly, very sensitively, without offending anyone, the old man realized this is the household of the Prophet. Obviously they know how to do it. and my wudu is wrong, and so he learnt it as well at the same time. Look at the wisdom of our imams and the sensitivity they showed to everyone around them. And yet we see what happened to them in Karbala, that even in the last moments, Imam Hussein was open to accepting their apologies, accepting them to say, would have accepted if they stopped from their evil deeds. So we talk about someone called Aun and Muhammad. Aun and Muhammad were the sons of Sayyidah Zainab. Aun being 10, Muhammad being 9. And they learnt from a young age the art of fencing, and sword fighting. So from a very young age they learnt how to be strong men. So we find in the Battle of Karbala, when one devotee, one companion after the other, they fell and they died. We saw that in the ones that were combating, there was only about 72 companions versus 30,000 companions. 30,000 enemies, rather, of Yazid's army. So slowly, Aun and Muhammad, they really wanted to fight and defend their uncle. Imagine, 10 and 9 years old. Imagine what courage they had. So Sayyidah Zainab, the mother, what would our mothers do? Sit back down. What are you talking about? You're only 10 or 9 years old. Sayyidah Zainab herself said to her brother, Ya Hussein, please allow my sons to go and fight. Sayyidah Zainab said, today I also want to be proud of my sons. Imam Hussein kept saying, look, they're very young. I will feel very bad. I'll feel responsible. Then Sayyidah Zainab said, remember when in the battle of Siffin, Hazrat Abu Fadl al-Abbas was only 10. When he saw someone trying to attack, he rushed into the battlefield and killed that man. He said, do you remember how proud Imam Ali was of Abbas when he was only 10 years old? Imam Hussein said, yes, of course. Sayyidah Zainab said, I too want to be proud of my sons. Will you stop me? Will you stop that right from me? So Imam Hussein stood there in silence, looked at his sister, saw the disappointment in her face, because at first he didn't look like he wanted to say yes, and saw tears coming from Sayyidah Zainab's eyes. Then he said, my beloved sister, you have never asked me for anything before. How can I say no to you now? He turned to Aun and Muhammad and said, go my sons, be brave. I shall join you soon on your journey to the heavens. Sayyidah Zainab held them close and kissed them goodbye. The boys raised their hands and said, Fi aman Allah, mother. God be with you, mom. Sayyidah Zainab replied, Bismillah, my sons, go. God be with you. The two boys, Aun and Muhammad, rode into the battlefield. They fought very bravely. And at one point, Umar ibn Sa'd, the enemy, said, who are those youngsters? They fight like I have seen Ali, son of Abu Talib, fight. When Umar ibn Sa'd was told who they were, he ordered his soldiers to give up single combats, surround and kill the boys. Aun and Muhammad were attacked from all sides. Imagine, 10 and 9 years old. They were attacked viciously. Imam Hussein, Abbas and Qasim stood by Zainab as she watched her sons fighting. Only a few minutes passed when Aun fell from his horse and shouted for Imam Hussein. Just that moment, another cry was heard, and this time it was from Muhammad. Abbas alayhi salam left Qasim with Zainab while he ran to the battlefield. Imam Hussein carried the body of Aun and Abbas carried Muhammad. Imam Hussein walked to Zainab's tent. He found her in sajda praying. Look what she said after her sons were just killed. Ya Allah, thank you for accepting my sacrifice. My heart is filled with pride because my two sons have given their lives for your religion. Sayyidah Zainab came to the two bodies of her sons and said, "My dear children, I am pleased with you that you have proved your worth and laid down your lives for truth. And you pleased God and His Holy Prophet." Soon after they went, there was another companion. If Imam Hussein, the older brother of if Imam Hassan, brother of Imam Hussein, was there, he would have supported, but he wasn't there. He died many years earlier. So he sent his son, the youngest of which was Qasim. Qasim, the son of Hussein, the one, if you know the famous quote, that when Imam Hussein asked him, "Aren't you scared of death?" Because he was so young. Qasim said, "Death to me is sweeter than honey." Imagine the level of knowledge, the level of faith, the level of understanding. That at that young age you want to defend what is true. You want to defend the people who are being harassed. Qasim was only 13 years old. And like his cousins Aun and Muhammad, he also learned fencing with Hazrat Abbas and Ali Akbar. After Aun and Muhammad had fallen in the battlefield, Qasim came to Imam Hussein and begged for permission to go and fight. Imam Hussein refused twice and saying, "Qasim, you are young and your mother's only son." After much insistence, Imam Hussein gave the permission. And being very young, there was no armor that would fit Qasim. All the armors, the clothes for battle, was for adults. So Qasim didn't have an armor. Imam Hussein tied Imam Hassan's turban on the head of Qasim and helped him mount his horse. Qasim came to the battlefield. He was a very handsome boy. When the enemy saw him, they began to murder. How can we kill someone whose face is shining like the moon? In a loud and clear voice, Qasim introduced himself and cried out for a challenge and a single combat. He killed several famous warriors at that young age of 13. Umar ibn Sa'd saw the courage of this young fighter, ordered his troops to attack him. They surrounded him from all sides and attacked him with words, with swords, with spears, with daggers and arrows. An enemy hit him on his head with such force that Qasim fell on the ground. Imam Hussein stood near the tents as he held his horse's reins. He was ready. He saw what had happened. At once he heard Qasim's cry, "Ya Amma, oh my uncle." Imam Hussein flew down like a horse, like a hunting falcon, and as he arrived by the side of Qasim, 200 men had surrounded this child, those cowards, 200 people. They fled